The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered 12. Covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday morning episode of the Bostonian versus the Book afternoon for you guys on the East Coast. My name is Matt Perrault. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you all in the brigade, and obviously I am solo again today. So Dave's off. Hope to see Dave tomorrow. If not tomorrow, hope to see Dave on Friday with us. We got a lot of good things to get to on the show today, and I appreciate all the messages, everything you guys jumped in with yesterday to pass along your well wishes and everything else you're asking about. I know you guys want to know. We will get all of that answered, all those questions to be answered in the very near future here on the program. Today is going to be interesting because it's just going to be me today. So we're going to go for as long as the show will go for. I don't know how long the show will be today. It may be an hour or maybe an hour and a half. Normally we do about an hour and 40. It may be a little bit shorter than normal because it's just me, no guests today. And so this is kind of every day is sort of a crapshoot for us at the moment, and things will settle down here in the very near future. But just to give you a quick idea as to what's going on and how things are going for us, it's a little bit tricky. I'm not going to lie. Each day as we're trying to figure out like what the rundown is going to look like and what the show is going to look like for you guys. So we're efforting obviously to put together the best show that we can do and try to give you guys the most content we can give you in the brigade. So each day, I don't know. I mean, like when I come on, I'm sure you guys are like, Dave and Matt. Okay, just Matt. So like, that's just the way things are going to go. But for today, we're going to run through Tyrese Haliburton's injury coming up for tomorrow. We'll talk about Florida winning their second straight cup. The Red Sox probably should stop talking about Rafael Devers because Craig Breslow's press conference yesterday wasn't great. The Yankees, well, if they get blanked today, it'll be history. We've never seen it potentially with 4 consecutive games in which the Yankees failed to score. 29 consecutive scoreless innings for the Yankees, who went into that streak with the number 1 offense in Major League Baseball. The WNBA has got to figure out, are they going to invest in the product or not? And they probably need to go get some new referees after what happened last night between the Sparks and the Fever. And massive legal challenges are coming to Kalshi. Like, everyone got involved yesterday. I don't know why everybody dropped it yesterday, but like 8 things dropped it. Like, bang, dropped it big time on this. And look, Zach, I'm open to any idea and every idea. I mean, Sonic and I have been going back and forth a little bit about what to do and how to do it. And I'm going to figure out a way to make it work when it's just me as to how to make it super interactive with you guys. If you have ideas, I guess the way I could say this is, if you have ideas, email the show. Okay. You can go to the website, thebvbshow.com. You can text us at 702-570-8255. Those are both ways of communicating with us. And ask the BvB at gmail.com is the direct email address. If you don't want to go through the website, you just want to ask us and email us, go ahead and do that. If you guys have ideas like, hey, this could be kind of cool. Like for the summertime, how could we create an interactive situation? Because I am toying with the idea, and don't chop my head off when I say this. I'm toying with the idea of pausing Roll Call Friday for the summer. I'll explain that more probably on Friday because roll call is a Dave thing. And I think doing roll call with just me, I don't know how you guys would respond to that. So you can tell me that as well. You can be like, absolutely not, Matt. You're not stopping roll call Friday. Or yeah, I'd be cool with roll call Friday being paused for the summer. And we'll pick it back up in August. So just kind of kick around the ideas with that. So just to kind of bring you guys quickly up to speed, if you're just turning into like, what is going on, Matt? Dave's off. We'll have an announcement hopefully on Friday with Dave. And then next week, it's just me. But next week, the show is definitely dropping down to just being a 1 hour show for sure. So it'll be 1 hour, and it will be that way for the entire week. We will be off the following week for the 4th of July holiday. That is a normally scheduled break for us. We have taken breaks consistently over the 4th. So we will do that. And then on the 7th of July, I will come back and I will be hosting the show solo until I go away to Scotland on August the 3rd. So we will have a full month of just me. The whole month of July will just be me. Then we'll have a break from August 3rd to August 10th. And then August 11th, I'm back, and we're back with the show, and we're hopeful that everything comes rolling back, and it's Dave and I and everyone else is together, and that's kind of the target. So things are going to move, things are going to change, but that's the timeline as of right now as to how things are going to go. We're not going to do Matt Tries to Rap, Mikey. That would be something else. Yeah, JPC, no, we're not going to be doing that. Just the Matt. play on past show. It's true. Just the picks, just the Matt. That's kind of what we're doing here on this. And yes, Jimmy Football, go ahead and email us for any proxy questions that you may have. So go ahead and do that. So, and Eron, Sean, I do appreciate you for saying that, because I do. I as I've said before, this is going to be different because me hosting solo is a different show. The power of BvB is the two of us, is Dave and I. So just me, that's a little different. And look, I'm a sports talk show host by nature. Okay. A solo trained sports talk show host that has worked in places. If you don't know where I've worked, I worked in Virginia, worked in Alabama. I worked in Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa, Houston, Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada, all as a solo host, doing this alone. So I know back, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago when Dave had to step out for a bit and everyone was like, wow, Matt could host a show by himself. Yeah, that's kind of what I have done, is I've hosted shows by myself and been a solo host for the vast majority of my career. I mean, to be quite honest, doing a tandem show is different for me. It has been different. It's why I wanted to do it, because I wanted to have, and I've done radio with co-hosts. In Des Moines, I had a co-host, Ken Miller, who's been on this show, and a guy who's heavily involved in the horse racing and sports gambling world in Des Moines, who I'm still very close with and friends with. And him and I did shows for 2 years together, and it was awesome. And it was the most rewarding thing I'd done in my career. So getting to work with Dave every day has been the best thing I've ever done, and has been phenomenal for me from a variety of reasons. And so this is a temporary thing. This is not permanent. Okay. We're not changing the name of the show. It's not going to be called the Bostonian. Okay. It's going to be the Bostonian versus the book. It's just that the book, who normally is, I guess right here, is not going to be seen for a little while. I have a new segment. Sonic put together a new stinger. It's the debut of a new stinger. I don't know how we gotta do this, but like, stingers are pretty popular around here. Here's a new one for the opening line. Okay, if you guys have missed it, we're going to start the show. This is a harkening back to my radio days, where the opening line was something we started every show with. And the opening line today is talking about the Mamba mentality that may be getting some players in trouble. Tyrese Haliburton today has come out and said that he is really going to try to play. He said, quote, "I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions, but I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm going to do everything in my power to play." The problem with that, and not that I don't use the word problem, is not one that is accurate, but the concern with that, if you are a Pacer fan, and this is coming from a Celtics fan who is wearing this hat, this championship 2024, 23-24 Celtics championship hat for the last time on the show, because as of tomorrow, the Thunder will be your NBA champions. And so this hat will be archived. That you could lose Haliburton for a chunk of next year. We don't know what the injury really is. And this is the problem that every Celtics fan can tell you about, because a lot of people believe that the injury to the Achilles for Jason Tatum did not happen when it happened. It happened earlier in the series, and he had been nursing that injury for the better part of 3 games. And then he finally made one dramatic step, and he popped it in game 5. Well, or was it game 4? Maybe, yeah, in game 4. The problem, I think, if you're Tyrese Haliburton, and the problem for this Pacers team is that you know what your numbers are with him and without him. They have a losing record this year without Tyrese Haliburton. They're 4-5. That's actually much better than what it was last year, because last year it was even worse without Tyrese Haliburton. But they score about 118 points per game this year when he's not on the court. Now, that has a lot to do with the role players they brought in, Obi Toppin and company, who are able to step up and help when Haliburton's not on the court, just when he's not there from a rest perspective, not an injury perspective. But I would be concerned if I'm a Pacer fan about what are we doing? Should we wind up playing Tyrese Haliburton in game 6? If there's at all a chance that this is not a calf injury, but rather an Achilles injury, and we talked about this yesterday, and I bring this up all the time, we actually don't know medically what is and what is not the beginning and the end of the Achilles and the calf. It's sort of one long piece of tissue. And where is it on the body? Where is it on the leg? Because Haliburton was limping noticeably after game 2. It wasn't just an injury that happened after game 5. He did the injury most likely after game 2. And he has been playing hurt for most of this series. And so because of that, I think you may need to sit him down simply because it's not worth it. I mean, the Knicks did that with Jalen Brunson. Now they won and extended the series and let him go back and play. But like, you as a Pacer fan, you want this guy back next year. You don't want him to lose a majority or all of next season. If he pops his Achilles, he's gone. And so we have this Mamba mentality. We have this, you're supposed to play hurt. But as a basketball player, the one devastating injury that is always lurking is your Achilles tendon. That is just a vicious injury. Kevin Durant came back from it. Okay, you can recover. We'll see what guys like Jason Tatum go through from a rehab perspective, but you're going to miss 9 months minimum, and it could be longer. I mean, the hope is that Jason Tatum comes back in 9 months. He's playing in March or April of next year for Boston, but many people think that that's not going to happen, that he's going to be gone for the entire year next year after getting injured in the postseason, in the playoffs. He did it a month ago. He has a month lead start. If Haliburton gets hurt tomorrow night, oh no. And he wasn't very effective anyway. In game 5, he played 34 minutes. He went 0 for 6 from the field and scored 4 points. So sometimes it's better to play without a guy for an entire game, and you prepare and say he's not going to be there. Rick Carlisle this morning on radio in Indianapolis said they're preparing to play with Tyrese Haliburton and without Tyrese Haliburton. But you have to, if you're a Pacer fan, you have to be worried about what happens if you play him tomorrow and he's not right, and he hurts the Achilles or he hurts the calf, and it becomes a long-term situation. And it's not losing one game, it's losing one season. And he has a history of leg injuries on top of that. This is not the first time that he's been hurt. So I understand that there are fans who are going to say, suck it up and play, right? Mamba mentality. Be like Kobe. Kobe also tore his Achilles. So, I know you want to play him. And I know it will signify, or it would be reported or interpreted as a white flag if you did not play Tyrese Haliburton tomorrow night. I don't think you're winning with him or without him. I don't think it matters. To be quite honest, I don't think it matters. He played his worst game of the year in game 5. He's going to be better in game 6. Like, it's a game time decision. They're showing him he's not running. Like, he's standing and shooting, but he's not running. And he's saying, I have to look at all of these factors. He's admitting that there's somebody who's telling him that this is problematic. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions, but I'm a competitor. I want to play. I want to do everything in my power to play. That's awesome. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm going to go and try to play and get myself as close to ready to go as possible. But there's clearly somebody who's telling him, hey, this may not be the injury you want to push. Like, this might be dangerous and you might cause yourself a serious injury. I know we talk about Michael Jordan's flu game and we talk about LeBron playing with multiple injuries. And I get this whole idea. But I think as an organization, you have to be smart sometimes and say the smarter thing to do would be to not play him. And if we get to a game 7, okay, let's figure out if we have Haliburton for game 7. But for game 6, we're not playing him. If I was the GM of the Pacers, I would not play Tyrese Haliburton tomorrow night. I would say, maybe we'll talk about game 7, but he's clearly not right. He's clearly, even when he's on the floor, he's not effective. So we hurt ourselves. The team is worse with him on the court, and the risk for long-term injury is high. So why would we do that? I get the Mamba mentality. I get the tough guy, warrior, go out on your sword. I understand that, but I don't think this is the time. I would sit him down. I would not play him tomorrow night and see if there's a game 7. But unfortunately, I know Pacer fans don't want to hear this, but I don't think there's going to be a game 7 because just like last night, I think the year is over. Well, what happened last night, it's actually this morning, and it's not ending in Florida because they are still partying as the Florida Panthers won their second straight cup. Panthers won the game 5-1. It was never close. The game somehow stayed under. It was an absolute blowout from the opening face-off, basically. We talked about it yesterday about how much fight, when Alex B. Smith came on the program, how much fight would the Oilers have? The answer to that question is 0. None. They had no fight. The Pacers are at home, so I'd be very surprised if the Pacers show as little effort as the Oilers did, but it wasn't just game 6. It was game 5, too. I don't know what happened in that locker room, but the Florida Panthers broke the Edmonton Oilers. When, how, why, I don't know, but they broke them. And it showed at the end when Evander Kane went hacking on Kachuk and got tossed and got a 10-minute misconduct. Because they just couldn't beat them. They haven't beaten them for 2 straight years. And it was almost like they got to a point where when it was 2-2 and they lost game 4, like that was it. They could have been up 3-1. They lost game 4. And then that was kind of just, all right, we're done. Like we can't beat these guys. And they lost game 5 and they lost game 6. And then away they went and we're done with the cup. It's amazing to see a guy like Sam Reinhart becoming the 6th player in the history of the NHL to score 4 goals in 1 game. That guy was unbelievable last night. And the state of Florida, I mean, if you're down there, wow, 4 cups, 6 straight finals appearances for teams from Florida over the last 10 years, or this decade, really, last 10 years. It's unbelievable to see how dominant the state of Florida with the Lightning and the Panthers, how they have been. And I know a lot of people in Canada don't like this. And I had to come around on this idea because I'm from Boston. I am a original 6 city. I am a cold weather city. And when it comes to hockey, it does feel weird that the coldest sport is being dominated by the warmest of markets. Well, coming to Vegas and realizing what hockey is like here, it doesn't matter that you can't play pond hockey. Like that was the thing I grew up playing, where you just chuck the puck out and you go play on the ponds. And it happens obviously in places like Michigan and, Minnesota and the Dakotas and obviously Canada, where in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, where pond hockey is a really big thing. And kids I grew up playing pickup basketball. They go and play pickup hockey. That's not what has to happen in a market for the market to embrace the sport. If you have enough sheets of ice and if you have enough people who are interested, hockey can work in warm weather markets. It's working in Vegas. I can tell you there's not even a question in my mind that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be around in 10 years. I didn't think that really, when they first moved here, there was a big question. I have a bigger question about the Raiders in 10 years than I do about the Golden Knights because of the passion, the interest, and just the fan support that they receive. Now, winning cures everything, right? You go to the Cup final in year one, and then 6 years later or 5 years later after that, you win the Stanley Cup. That's tremendous, right? So the Raiders haven't been good like that for, not my lifetime. I'm 48 years old. So they've gone to Super Bowls in my lifetime, but not like that. Not where you're galvanizing the entire market. And they moved around a ton too. I mean, Oakland, LA to Oakland and out to Vegas. So that's a problem, I think, for the Raiders to try to compete with the Golden Knights and their success here in Vegas from a fandom perspective, because the fans here, even the fans who love the Raiders, will tell you that the fans really live in Los Angeles. Like, that's where the Vegas fan base comes from. And they drive over every Saturday night, stay over, party, go to the game Sunday, and drive back. That's just, and it, 8, 9, 10 times a year. Not that hard to do that. Arizona didn't work. And it is somewhat surprising that Arizona didn't work, given that Austin Matthews came out of there and the fact that they were good, They couldn't build a building. They couldn't get a new rink built in Phoenix. And so they wind up going to Utah and becoming the Utah, not the Yeti, right? They're the Mammoth. So Utah Mammoth. It's going to work in Utah, clearly. Salt Lake is going to be a hockey market. It's big. It's a big minor league hockey market, and they were good and supportive last year of Utah being there. So, but Florida, Atlanta's trying to get a team, and Atlanta wants to get an NHL team back, and they're using the Florida example as, see, it can work. But the difference is that in South Florida, there are so many people who are from the New England, New York, Philadelphia area who have retired down there or have moved down there for work. They bring their hockey fandom with them. Same thing happened here in Vegas. Like, people who grew up in Vegas found out about the Golden Knights, but mostly in year one, the folks that were jumping up and down about the Golden Knights being here, one, Canadians, because so many Canadians live here, and two, people from the northern states, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York, all of New England. And they've all moved here. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can watch hockey. This is awesome. In my backyard, NHL hockey, let's go. Hockey is a great sport in person. It's an absolutely must-see sport in person. I wonder if you look at the experience from like the Atlanta Thrashers, I just wonder if there's enough people in that market that actually care enough about hockey that when they walk in, that it either brings back memories of going to the rink when they were kids, or they have some type of interest in the sport beyond just walking in for the first time. I don't believe Atlanta. Yeah, it's a great point. The league is convinced that Atlanta problem has always been poor ownership and not the market. So they're going to try it some more. Linus, okay. Chicago Cougs. Atlanta is very different now than it was back then. Is it? Is it? Why? Why is Atlanta so different? You could talk about the economics of Atlanta, but from a market standpoint, I lived in the South. I live in Atlanta, but I went to Atlanta all the time. Atlanta is a college football town, okay? It is the hotbed of the SEC. It is the focal point. If you are going to crown a capital of the Southeastern Conference, it's Atlanta, Georgia, okay? That's the capital. So, take the Hunger Games, right? When they call it the capital, that's what Atlanta is. You go to the capital. So you have Georgia Tech and Georgia fans, but then you have all other Southern people that grew up in other parts, South Carolina and Alabama and Mississippi, that all moved to Atlanta, the big city, if you will. They don't care about hockey. They don't care about hockey. They care about NASCAR. Okay. They care about the Falcons. That's true. After that, the Braves are somewhere on the list, but it's like, how old are you, right? They've moved the ballpark out to the suburbs to be closer to where people live, and that supposedly has been a good thing. but I don't understand it. It just, I don't think hockey works there. And just because Florida is winning and Florida is dominating, I don't know if I would go and say that it's going to work. But Sam Bennett won the Conn Smythe as the odds-on favorite to do so. If you had tickets on Brad Marchand, if you had tickets on Bobrovsky, that was a bummer. It's always, you want to see a long shot win that. So many people had tickets on it going, but the guy scored, 5 goals in the finals and 15 goals overall. Hard to argue, right? It's not like you can sit there and be like, okay, Sam Bennett should not have won the Conn Smythe. He had an incredible playoffs. He was the most prolific goal scorer for the team that won the cup. Hard to argue. I think the sexier pick and the more interesting pick would have been to go get Brad Marchand. There's a hysterical video floating around the internet right now of a bar that they went to last year that they're back there called the Elbow, that they're down in Florida. I've never been there, but Brad Marchand is hanging off of a balcony with the cup in hand, chanting "Thank you, Boston," with the fans who were chanting "Thank you, Boston" for trading Brad Marchand. That, while I find that hysterical, there is a little bit of touch of sadness on that, obviously, from a Bruins perspective of like, damn, okay, we're a ways away from Brad Marchand and a ways away from the Bruins being back into that part of the world, into the championship caliber level for anyone. So that's one of those situations where you're like, my gosh, I wish the Bruins would be back there, but 2011 was a long time ago. But congrats to Brad Marchand. Congrats to the Panthers, obviously. For Canada, the drought continues. 1993, the Oilers, just the third team to lose back-to-back Stanley Cup finals in NHL history, and Canadian teams have now lost 7 consecutive Cup final series since 1993. The Oilers this morning comes out that they're the odds-on favorite to win the Cup next year. I don't know if that's a sucker bet, if that's just trying to get people's money or what. I don't know if I would go and say, JR, the Elbow Room? Isn't it spelled without the W? It's ELBO, elbow, right? The Elbow Room. That's what it's called. I don't know. Chris says, Bettman said the Quebec City can't hold a team, so I'm not sure how Atlanta will get another one. Atlanta shouldn't get another one. They shouldn't, but it's a big market. It's a big market without a team. And there's a basketball team there. There's a baseball team there. And there's a football team there. And generally speaking, when the NHL sees a market with those 3 other big franchises, they get jealous. And they're like, we got to put it there. I don't agree, but they tried it once. It didn't work. It's same thing with Phoenix. Like Phoenix thinks that they're getting a team eventually. Like Phoenix believes it's going to be like the Colt situation, or, Baltimore loses, or the Brown situation where, the Browns leave to go to Baltimore and the NFL turns around and gives the Browns, gives Cleveland the Browns a couple of years later. I don't know, but Phoenix and Atlanta, both hot weather climate, markets, want hockey. Like they want hockey. So, well, they lead MLS in attendance, Chicago Goose, because of the market. The market makes sense. The market likes soccer. Like the market, think about, that makes sense to me that Atlanta would leave. The Atlanta Dream in the W does pretty well as well from an attendance standpoint. Hockey is a different animal. It's a different beast. So in the South, when I lived there, the only people who really wanted to go to hockey games were ones that went to minor league games to watch the fights. Like that's what brought people out of the cold. So, out of the heat into the cold. They wanted to go and watch and get out of the, sticky humidity to go watch guys beat the crap out of each other, which we'll have more on that coming up in my favorite thing about today at the end of the show. So I don't know. I just don't think Atlanta is a good market for it, but I don't think also the Oilers should be the odds-on favorite to win the Cup next year, because how could you with a straight face bet on any Canadian team to win the Cup right now? 1993 was 1993. I'm 48 years old. I'm barely driving in 1993. Like, it's a long time ago since a Canadian team and the Canadians won the Cup. So, I don't know. I think if I was a book, I don't know how you put that and say that's a bet that I'm going to, I'm going to put that up saying that the Oilers are going to be the odds-on favorite to win the Cup next year. It's Florida until further notice. Now, I know Bennett's a free agent, and I know that there's some talk about Marchand sticking around, but you got your core. You got your goalie. Florida's not going anywhere. Florida's not going anywhere. And sure, there's teams in the East that are going to be better and teams that are going to be competitive and push Florida, but back to back. Florida Panthers should be the odds-on favorite to win the Cup coming up next year. All right, to the Rafael Devers situation. Yesterday, Craig Breslow, the director of baseball operations for the Red Sox, held a press conference, and he gave this answer when he was asked about the package that came back for Rafael Devers for the Red Sox. He said it's not the best, or I guess it was 2 days ago. I guess it was on Monday evening. He said this. It's not that this was the best deal that we could get, because the best deal that we could get may not necessarily be good enough to trade a player like Rafael Devers. But when you consider all factors here, this is the one that made sense. That sentence doesn't make sense, so it makes it even more difficult for Red Sox fans to understand Rafael Devers and what Devers getting traded from the Red Sox. Now, I'm on the record. I'm good with it. I'm good with the trade of Devers by simply just saying the real thing out loud. We wanted out from the contract. We did not want to pay him anymore because we believed the contract was a mistake and he was not part of our future, and yet we were tied to him, and so we made a decision to remove Rafael Devers from the roster. Whatever came back didn't matter because we wanted all of the money, because it's been reported multiple times that the Red Sox had multiple teams interested. And the Sox felt like they had to trade him quickly because it was going to leak that they were shopping Rafael Devers, and they did not want anybody to leak that. And they also wanted to get away from the trade deadline when all the craziness is going on. So that's why they didn't hold him until July and traded him then, because they wanted to do it when nobody else was talking big-time trades. Let's just do it right now. But other teams had made better offers, but they were not willing to take the full $254 million that was left on the contract. They're like, we'll give you some of it, but you're going to pay for some of it too. And the Red Sox said, no way. We're not paying for any of it. And the Giants were the only team that said, we'll take it all. And so by taking it all, the Red Sox were like, here you go. You can have him. He's your problem now. So it didn't matter what came back. Like, I know fans don't want to hear that. So Breslow's trying to do this whole, I don't know what he's trying to do. He's losing credibility with a lot of people when he speaks like that. Like, that's a word salad. Like, that doesn't make any sense when you start parsing this down. It's not that this was the best deal that we could get. Well, that right there makes fans mad, because the best deal that we could get may not necessarily be good enough to trade a player like Rafael Devers. Well, then you don't trade Rafael Devers. Like, what do you mean? So you can't get a deal. You can't get a package that's good enough to trade the player, but you traded the player. But when you consider all the factors here, this is the one that made sense. Now, what he's saying there is the Giants took the whole contract. That's why we gave the Giants Rafael Devers. But it doesn't make, just say that. Like, stop talking. Like, stop trying to justify the move by coming up with some, like, saying a lot by not saying anything. It just makes you look bad. It just makes everybody look bad. I mean, I think people make mistakes by trying to say nothing, and instead they say like some gobbledygook word salad that doesn't make fans feel good. I mean, the police are involved right now. The Newton police outside of Boston, where a lot of players in ownership and management, a lot of people have houses and live, are now involved with online threats being issued at the Red Sox from fans. Like, fans are really, really mad, and you're not doing anything to explain it. You're making it worse when you're talking like this. And again, I'm on record for saying I would have done the deal. I like the deal. I'm okay with the deal for the Red Sox to get out of the Devers situation, because Rafael Devers claiming, and I love this, like, I'm only here talking about the future at his press conference. when he was introduced, they're like, so blah, 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 Red Sox. Yeah, I'm not talking about the Red Sox. I'm not talking about, I'm here only talking about the future. I'm not talking about the past. Okay, very politically correct. Very much not 2025 because we want juice and tea and we want to spill all of that so we can find out what actually happened. But he's not talking about that. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'll play first base, which is infuriating because now it's coming out from the Boston Globe that, well, Devers would have played first base, but he wanted a commitment that the Red Sox would only play him at first base the rest of the year. Like, guy, don't you get this? You don't get to dictate where you play. Like, you are an employee. You don't tell them where you're going. Like, walk into your job and tell your boss, I'm only working X. Yeah, I'm working Saturdays and Tuesdays. That's it. It doesn't work like that. Your boss needs you to do a job. The Red Sox needed him to play first base for a while until they figured out what to do with the position. If he's stuck at first base, that's great. Devers could have been the first baseman of the future. But after the injury to Alex Bregman, he should have gone back to third. He should have just said, oh, Bregman's hurt. I can play third. I'll play third. And he could have Wally pipped him. If he'd gone there and played great third base and hit like 350 and 12 home runs, the Red Sox wouldn't have moved him. They would have left him at third base and moved Bregman. Like, whoever was consulting Rafael Devers was so dumb, or maybe it was Devers himself, because they were so myopic and short-sighted, like a toddler. Like, I want it now, and I want it this way, and if I don't get it now, and I don't get it this way, I'm not doing it. Like, it's baby material for a 28-year-old professional who's making the money that he's making. So that pissed me off even more when he said, like, well, I'll play first base. Oh, so for the Giants, you'll play first base and be all open to everything. But then you leak it out to the Globe that you would have played first base, but you had a condition. You had a condition. I would play first base, but like, talk to your spouse, right? when she's asking you or he's asking you to like do something and you're like, yeah, I'll do it, but you're in deep trouble with that word. You say, but you're like, oh no. Like, she's not going to let you get away with that. Like, honey, I'll clean the garage, but you know what's going to be said next is going to cause a fight. It's just, do what I ask, please. I need you to do something for me. Can you please do it? Like, the Red Sox are just saying, I need you to do this. Play first base. Okay, but no, but I need you to play first base. So the Giants ask you to play first base and there's no conditions. Oh yeah, I'll play first base. Because you got sent packing and everybody now is trying to coach you up as to what you should and should not say. For Devers' debut yesterday, he winds up going 2 for 5 with 1 RBI, 3-2 loss to Cleveland. Obviously ripped the baseball. And I think he's going to be a doubles machine at Oracle Park. I really do. I think he's going to have a ton of hits in that ballpark. Will he hit 300 this weekend when the Red Sox are in town? Maybe. Will he go off? Probably. But the Red Sox players, he is blaming the Red Sox entirely. Yes, pretty much in a lot of ways. The Red Sox players, they went into the locker room. Craig Breslow and Sam Kennedy, the president of baseball operations and director of baseball operations, went into the clubhouse, and the Red Sox players stopped them and say, we don't need explanations. We don't need it. We're good. Now it's been reported in multiple places where they stopped them, said, don't explain yourself. We're good. The players were happy. The players wanted the deal. The players were like, okay, good. Let's go play ball. Like that. I guess the difference is when you have a veteran latent team and you have a lot of guys in the locker who have been around for a long time and they've had bad relationships with front office and managements across Major League Baseball, that those guys are like, get yours, screw them. But the Red Sox right now are pretty much, these kids should be at AAA or AA. They got a lot of young, talented guys and a lot of journeyman players that are trying to stick in the majors that just want to play baseball. Like, they don't want the drama, bro. They just want to play ball. Like, he's gone. We're good. And then they turned around and won 2-0 the first game against Seattle. Now, last night, they got hammered because Walker Buehler is not a good pitcher at all anymore. And Cal Raleigh hit a ball to the moon, drove in 6 runs, and the Red Sox lost 8-0. They got killed yesterday. So today, and their game is starting, I think it already started, right? Or starting in, no, it starts in an hour. Red Sox at the Mariners with Garrett Crochet pitching. Sox need to win this game today. Like, need to win this game today. And I think they will win this game today, to be quite honest. But, like, this is a team that could have gone public or could have had things leak out and be like, I can't believe they traded Rafi. I can't believe they punted the season. I mean, we're now just such a different team now, blah, blah. That didn't happen. At zero. Nothing happened. No conversation. None. Zero. It was, let's go play. Ball, glove, bat, let's go. If the team is good with it, that should tell you something. If the team is not like, oh my God, our best player's gone, what do we do? They're like, okay, let's go. Don't need to explain it. We know why you did it. Let's go. That's big. That's being undersold, underreported, in my opinion, about all of this, because that's all that really matters, right? What do the Red Sox do? They're 1-1 without Rafael Devers. Okay. We'll look back on it in 2, 3, 4 months and say, what was the record, right? If the Giants take off and the Red Sox go into a tailspin, okay, fans who are furious today will have justification. But, like, you know, I put up the clip of Dave and I talking about this on social media, and I cannot believe and it's all on TikTok and Instagram Reels, which is wild. Same clip on Twitter, not that big of a conversation point. On TikTok, I think I'm up to something like 1,000 comments and like 75,000 views on TikTok. Instagram's like 25,000 views and like 100 comments. It's like those two, Instagram Reels and TikTok, that's where the Devers fight is happening on social media. Now, that's probably because the younger audience lives on those two platforms, and older people have seen this story before, and it's not that stunning or shocking to see a star player get traded. So maybe there's some calmer heads on X than on other platforms. But there are some people who are really getting angry. Absolutely not, JR. Should the Red Sox throw at him this weekend? You should never throw at anybody. I mean, you should never throw at anybody, okay? You should never. No, I do not. And Devers didn't do anything wrong. Like, I don't think he wronged anybody. I just think he was a malcontent. Like, he was just a baby. He was a selfish guy. I don't think any player hates him. I just think the team knows he was becoming a massive distraction. And when you get mad at Christian Campbell because he volunteered to play first base, that report came out where Devers got angry that Christian Campbell sort of like went over his head, that Devers was like, no, I'm not playing first base. And Campbell was like, okay, I'll play first base. You need someone to play first base? I'll play first base. Like any good teammate should. And Devers is like, no, you can't do that. Well, that's a problem. Like, that creates divide. That creates a division in your locker room because one guy wants to do what's best for the team. Another guy wants to do what's best for him. And so I think that's why Devers being traded didn't surprise the Red Sox young players, or they aren't even angry about it. They're like, okay, it's our team now. We don't have to worry about that guy becoming, a huge issue for us and a huge impediment for us as we go forward. So I think that's why the players weren't really angry about Devers being traded. But no, I don't think that they will wind up throwing at him. This is what Garby's referencing here. I'm not a Red Sox fan, but some of the stories coming out of the front office is pretty wild. I mean, I will agree. The story involving the fact that the Red Sox allegedly interviewed a person for their front office only to go through 5 rounds of interviews without without speaking to a single person. Now, the Red Sox are now interviewing people through artificial intelligence and not doing anything face-to-face and not talking to someone face-to-face is troubling. Like, there's no other way around it. That's troubling to hear that. Because if Craig Breslow has no people skills, I'm still a firm believer that you have to be able to look somebody in the eye face-to-face when you're working for somebody to get to know them. Like, I interview the person interviewing me. It's a two-way street. Like, I'm coming to work for you. You want to pay me, but I got to work for you. I got to find out what you're like. And so I want to find out what what are you all about? If I'm talking to a computer and this computer is telling me things, I'm talking to some robot, that's awful. Like, that's not how it should be at all. Yeah, it's a recipe for failure. Yeah, it's a lot of problems. And D-Weezy, you're right. A lot of industries have turned to the AI interviews because it weeds out the crew, right? If you have 100 people who are interested. So my girlfriend Amanda went through a job search last year, and she was talking with somebody in the hiring world, in the recruiting world, and told her some tips about how to get your interview, your email past the AI screeners. When you're applying for a job, there are all these different tricks you can do to get around the AI screen, because employers are putting up this AI screen to weed out certain people. But you have to use certain terms and words to avoid being caught up in the net that's being cast. So that's not good. Like, that's not. So you're talking about different tricks in, with wording and language that you're using to get to the right person, to get to a human being, so the human beings will see your resume. That's not good for society, for where we are. So I think people are ripping the Red Sox for this, saying they're out of touch. Well, I think society is very well out of touch. They're not like, I don't think the Red Sox are so much like a unique industry or a unique corporation that they're using AI to help expedite hiring practices. It's just weeding things out. To go through 5 interviews before you talk to a human being is ridiculous. To those of us who haven't had to go through that, all of us might have to go through that one day, where we don't talk to human beings and all we do is talk to artificial intelligence, and we're answering these emails, having to say these different things. So I don't like it. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but I do understand that there are situations in our current world that are very impersonal, that are not the way it was. And the world's moving very fast. I'm not saying it's for the right. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying how it should be. I'm just saying it's where we are right now. So everyone's like ripping the Red Sox, going like, they're so dysfunctional. Oh my God. Craig Breslow is this like walking robot, and this guy has no personality, and he's trying so hard to be Andrew Freeman, and he's not Andrew Freeman. And I just think it's weird to me that, like, we are expecting the Red Sox, or anybody in sports for that matter, not to be operating in the same world as everybody else, of TED Talks and, the world of Chat GPT. Like, there are so many things that are automated these days. Why wouldn't we automate the hiring practice? Like, why wouldn't we automate the way that we screen? As you have a job opening? You guys ever had a job opening? I have. How do you handle the 10,000 emails you get that are completely irrelevant to what you're doing? That people just spray the board. Like, you post a job on some job site, and all of a sudden you get 500 emails, and like one of them is relevant. Like 2 of them are actual candidates that could actually do the job that you're asking them to do. How do you screen that out? So that's essentially what the Red Sox are doing with that. Again, I'm not defending it as much as it's just sort of like a symbol of the time as to where we are in the world. I don't like it, but like, June Lee, June Lee's a really good writer. I know him. And so I tried to get him on the show today. He's the one that wrote the article for Yahoo Sports that everyone's quoting about the scout that got fired for ripping Breslow, and he thought he was over, and it wasn't. Like, he wrote the article, and he works for both NBC Sports Boston and for Yahoo Sports as well. But, a league source recruited by the Red Sox, only to go through 5 rounds of interviews with an AI without speaking to a single person. I know that sounds inflammatory. I know that sounds like, what? But without context, that didn't make me all that angry, because, like, I'm sure that makes an older baseball person, like if that guy is 60 years old and had been in baseball for a long time, I'm sure that infuriated that person and made them go, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? But in reality, a lot of companies are doing that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like, I don't know how big of a deal that is. I'm not sure that's shocking. You're using Chat GPT right now. I use it all the time, Christian. I mean, I'm 48 years old. Anything that can help me work smarter, not harder, I'm in on. And Chat GPT for me is unbelievable. For somebody who is somewhat grammatically challenged and spelling challenged, as you guys can see when I put these things up, on the screen, the typos, that's because of me. So if you can find a way to have me not do that and not send emails with mistakes, I'm in. If I can avoid my grammar issues, I'm in. So like, I'm not opposed to Chat GPT by any means. Odds are that person did not get hired, isn't happy. High, CBW, high that person got passed over. 100%. That's really, really high. Chef Benny, you've never used AI? Well, you have. You just haven't known you've used it. It's impossible for anyone in the world to be online and not know that you've used AI, but in what way? Maybe you didn't push a question to AI, but you've used it. I mean, every bank in America uses AI, all of them. So like Apple, almost every Apple product is using AI. Siri is AI. Alexa is AI. So like, if you guys have ever used those products, that's AI, whatever Google's new thing is. Google just started something new that's allowing you to search by voice and search the internet. Those are all AI. So you've used AI, you just haven't used Gemini. Thank you, Sonic. Yes, that's Gemini. That's all artificial intelligence, all of that. So it's hard to avoid this. We don't talk much WNBA on the show, but I thought today would kind of be a good day to do this because I don't know if you guys saw what happened last night between the Fever and the Sparks, but headline, WNBA players, fans deserve better from the Fever Sun disaster. But will the league finally take action? It's not a specific Fever problem or a Caitlin Clark one. Referees have been dropping the ball well before Tuesday's game. So let me set the stage for what happened on Tuesday, because I've only seen, and I've gone back and watched all the highlights, but I did not see this specifically happen in terms of the way the referees dropped the ball, because they dropped the ball in a really bad way. So Caitlin Clark got hit in the face by a player from Connecticut. And Becky Sheldon was the player that hit Caitlin Clark in the face. Caitlin then turned around and went directly at the player and then got bumped and hit by a different Connecticut Sun player and knocked her to the ground. And so she got up and she was really mad. Okay. This was a Commissioner's Cup final berth on the line for Indiana. There was a lot of if you were a WNBA fan, you were locked into that game. It's Caitlin Clark. So we're watching big numbers, but also just because what was on the line for the Indiana Fever. If they win, they're in the Commissioner's Cup final up against Minnesota. Sophie Cunningham in the final minute, breakaway, Sun guard, Jackie Sheldon, or is it JC or Jackie Sheldon? One of the two had a breakaway. Goes up, gets hammered, just straight up hammered. And then it turns into almost a full-on melee. Like, it just turned into this incredible pushing back and forth. Nobody threw punches, but it really was the referee's fault. I mean, the referees, if you're the WNBA, you need to have experienced referees now, okay? It was fun when nobody was paying attention. When the league didn't have the level of interest that it has now, you could have these referees that blew calls like crazy. And I've watched the W for a while now. Anyone who's watched WNBA basketball, you know how bad the refereeing is. It's atrocious. Like, it's awful. So now you've put this big spotlight, and sunlight is the best disinfectant, obviously, and you go ahead and shine a bright light into the dark corners of the WNBA. And this is not good, what we're finding and what we're seeing. And so, yes, it is good for the game because we're talking about it, Chef Benny. That's true. We are talking about this. So it gives an opportunity for the league to get more exposure for it. But you need to protect, and I'm not saying you protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, but you got to protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, okay? No one gets to take a shot at Caitlin Clark. And I give Cunningham credit for defending Caitlin. I think it also sends a pretty loud message to the WNBA that if you F with Caitlin Clark, we're going to come and protect, you're going to come and hit you, you're going to take one, which I like. Baseball's had that for years. You throw at our star, we're throwing at your star. You hit our star, we're hitting your star. Payback's a B. I'm good with it. I like that. I'm fine with that. But I put the onus on the WNBA and de facto the NBA to get the referees to be better. Either coach them up or hire better referees to keep control over those types of situations. If someone gets hit in the face, okay, you can't just like let it go. Like you can't just be like, you can't miss foul calls. You cannot miss constant hard fouls. It starts to become a big problem. If you don't get control of a game early, a highly competitive, intense game, if you're going to sit back and let them play, and then look, it happened in the NHL with the Cup Finals, right? The referees did not want to keep on calling penalties on both the Panthers and the Oilers. They had no choice, because if they didn't, it was going to turn into a joust. They were going to take their stick and start shoving it up in bad places. Okay. Last night, there was a lot of plays that were just blatantly missed by the referees. And then it got to a peak with Cunningham and her hard foul at the end. So the league needs to step this up. You need to get better referees. You need to hire better referees. And you can't just sort of like close your eyes and be like, not a big deal. But yes, overall, it's a win. Front page, right? You're on Yahoo Sports. You get a front page story. Okay, that's a win. I don't know if it's the type of win you want. And to be honest, I think you would want to have a different type of win, but you get a win out of it, right? That's a W for the WNBA. It gets people talking about it. But that's not what you want. Yeah, everyone's been saying this, CBW, that the Fever need to go out and get their version of Charles Oakley. I don't know. Maybe Cunningham is that version. You know, maybe she's like, yeah, I'm defending her at all costs. Like if Sophie Cunningham can go after anybody and say, hey, if you're going to hit my player, I'm going to put you in a headlock and I'm going to drop you hard and then I'll push you. And then if we got to throw, we'll throw. If we got to get after it, we'll get after it. But I like that we're talking, but no players were ejected from that melee. Really? Like, okay, like there should have been more from the referees earlier in the game. They should have kept control of that early. It never should have escalated to the point that it did. You heard the broadcast crew say that, like, we never should have gotten there. It never should have been like that last night. In particular, it's involving Caitlin Clark. Okay? Again, I don't want to make it all about Caitlin Clark, but it's all about Caitlin Clark. Okay. I don't care what anyone like. The most hysterical thing online right now is what is being talked about whenever you're bringing up either Caitlin Clark in the comments around her or Angel Reese in the comments around her, because the whole me bound thing is pretty funny. Okay. That she misses her own shot so many times that they gave her rebounds because she pads her stats. She gets triple doubles because she can't hit a layup because she can't. So they called it a me bound, not a rebound. She went and trademarked it. Beautiful. That is absolute beauty to do that. To take something that's an insult, twist it around, and go make money on it. Love it. Absolutely love what Angel Reese has done. But the level of like anger that comes at somebody, it's come at me before. Me being, in that community, I'm a 48-year-old white guy. Like I'm the devil in that community. But like you say anything to do about this, going like, well, Angel Reese has been like trying to stoke this Caitlin Clark thing at all turns. And everyone's like, she does not. She gets asked by the media. And I'm always like, does anybody actually watch the WNBA, or does anybody actually watch what has happened on the court, not off the court? Because I think what Angel Reese has done is brilliant when it comes to Caitlin Clark. She says everything right on camera and in front of microphones, and does everything wrong as an action when she's in front of Caitlin Clark. Like from the ring thing, which go back and where I was on the ring thing, that disgusting show at LSU, all the way to the fight that happened the last time they played against each other. And she got, she was really mad because of what happened and she wanted to kill and she was swearing at Caitlyn and went at Caitlin Clark. Like that, I think is hysterically funny. Like that whole thing is a riot to me that like you can't criticize Angel Reese because she's the victim. Like, and I'm like, my head explodes whenever time I hear that. I'm like, does anybody watch what she does? Not what she says. What she says is always correct. She's very smart. But her actions are always like, I want to kill Caitlin Clark and I hate Caitlin Clark. Like that's pretty much what like every action that she shows is that she hates Caitlin Clark. Every time she speaks, and it gives her people this incredible cover, like this like dome of protection where they get to go and cite it and be like, well, look, see, she said the right thing. She likes Caitlin Clark. She supports Caitlin Clark. She loves what Caitlin Clark is doing. Like, no, she doesn't. Like, no, like, don't pee on me and tell me it's raining. No, like, like we have eyes. Like, we know what these two do with each other. They hate each other, and I'm okay with it. They should hate each other. The difference is that Magic and Bird didn't hate each other. Those two hate each other straight up. You cannot convince me that they do not absolutely hate each other. All right, to baseball. What's going on with the New York Yankees? Can anybody answer this to me? What is going on? The Yankees have been shut out for 29 consecutive innings. They've lost 5 games in a row, and they can't hit their way out of a paper bag. They got blanked by Kyle Hendricks last night. 4-0, they lost. 4-0. The Yankees have never been shut out 4 times in a row in their history. And tonight, the Angels go for it. Since the last game against Boston, New York had the top scoring offense in Major League Baseball. And they have since been blanked 3 straight times, and they've lost 5 games in a row. Aaron Judge has been horrible. 3 for his last 24, 15 Ks over his last 7 games. Last night went 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, and he was booed. And he was booed loudly by Yankee fans at Yankee Stadium. This is something else. Yeah, it feels like it's a long time since we were talking about the torpedo bats being unfair, right? It's been a long time. This is wild to watch that they cannot hit. They can't hit anything. Like, it doesn't matter who is. I mean, Cody Bellinger can't hit. Like, everyone in that lineup is ice cold, and Aaron Judge equally is ice cold. They had the best offense in baseball. Like a week ago, they had the best offense in baseball, and all of a sudden it's gone. It's like someone literally clicked a switch. Goodbye. See you later. I mean, wow. I think if you are a Yankee fan right now, there's no way that you're going, just a blip. We're all good. Really? Because it looks like the offense last year. Because there was a time last year where the Yankees couldn't score either. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, it makes Aaron Judge's numbers look even more impressive by what he does without the protection of Mike Stanton. And now without the protection of Soto. He had Soto last year, doesn't have Soto now, but they can't score. If they get blanked, I don't think they get blanked today, but if they get blanked today by the Angels, by a kid whose name I can't even pronounce, oh my gosh. Like that will be something. Watch for that. Watch for the Angels today. You want to bet the streak? Bet the Angels to beat the Yankees. I'm betting the streak, but I'm betting it in a different way here because I do think there's a way that we can attack it from a monetary standpoint. We'll lead that off when it comes to bet it or book it. Ooh, wow. Where is that? There it is. All right, as I get before, without Dave, better to book it is a little bit awkward. It's not really anything. I'm going to come up with some type of idea. Someone said bring back just the picks. There's some idea for that we might do that for next week. But for right now, there's your stinger for better to book it. But there probably will be something else. Yankees, Angels under 9.5. It's now 10. They're betting it over. It's 10. It's 10. I was like, wait, what? 10. So if you are like me and you like betting streaks and you think the Yankees are going to have a tough time today scoring, and that the Angels, who equally, by the way, are having a very tough time scoring. It's not like the Angels are knocking the cover off the baseball either. They won 4-0. They won 1-0. They scored 2 runs against the Orioles, 5 runs and no runs against the Orioles. So in their last 5 games, they've gone 0, 5, 2, 1, and 4. That's not like a red hot offense here for this. Under 9.5, and you can get 10s. There's 10s in the market. Mad Dog went crazy today on ESPN. New York radio is going crazy. They can't score. They can't do anything. And somebody asked, has Judge's MVP numbers moved? They can't. Like, you can't move. How do you move it? He was minus 20,000. Like, he was minus 20,000. You can't move that number. That number is gone. Like, see you later. So, you got plus money today, Zach. That's great. It's just bet the streak. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Yankees score 100 today. Yarborough hasn't been awful for the Yankees. That's the one benefit. Like, New York can score 7 runs, win 7-0, and we still go under, right? Because Yarborough just needs to hold it together. He has an inflated ERA because of his one really bad start against the Red Sox, in which he gave up 8 earned runs. But if you cross that off, I know it's hard to do that, but if you cross off the Red Sox start, 8 earned runs in 4 innings, and get rid of that, he's gone 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and 1 since May 1st. ERA is given up in starts. So kid's not been horrible. Doesn't throw very hard. So that's a little bit of a worry whenever you have a soft throwing guy like Ryan Yarborough. But under 9.5, and you get 10. Go find a 10 and go under with that as well. Same thing. And this game starts here in 30 minutes. Red Sox and the Mariners. This is Crochet against Castillo. The Red Sox can't score. Now, while they were winning, which was crazy, because all of a sudden the Red Sox found a way to pitch for a little bit. Not yesterday. Lost 8-0. But the Red Sox, going back to the Rays series, in the first game against the Rays, they lost it 10-8. But it was 3-1, 4-3, 2-1, 4-3, 2-0, 2-0 during that 6-game win streak. They were pitching their butt off, and then they got wrecked last night. They gave up. Cal Raleigh went bonkers, and Walker Buehler broke all that. He went back to being Walker Buehler. Sox lost 8-0. But in games pitched by Garrett Crochet, he's had one bad start, okay, against the Yankees, much like Yarborough. He had one bad start. That was a 10-7 win for the Red Sox. Yarborough gave up a ton of runs. Crochet gave up 5 in 6 innings for the Yankees. If you cross that off, though, Yarborough has given up 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1 earned runs since the start of May. He doesn't get hit very hard. We know the Mariners don't score a ton, even though Cal Raleigh can hit a lot of home runs, obviously. He can hit a ton. So under 7. This is just straight under. I doubt the Red Sox score on Castillo. Their offense is pretty quiet. Garrett Crochet knows he has to be great because Garrett Crochet gets 0 run support. Final scores over the last 5 games, if you take out that 10-7 game, like I mentioned, it's 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 5-1, 4-2. Okay? So as long as one of those pitchers doesn't get rocked today, Red Sox should wind up going under 7 against the Mariners. And then finally, the Pirates team total. There's rain in the forecast in Detroit. So I'm a little concerned this game's going to get rained out. So this game might not happen. But it's Scooble Day for the Tigers. And the Pirates cannot hit. Their team total is 2.5. We know that Scooble is the best pitcher in baseball, and he doesn't give up runs. We know this on the road. He has a 2.28 ERA. At home, he has a 1.72 ERA. He's at home today with a 5-0 record at home, an opposing batting average of 200, 9 earned in 47 innings worth of work. His final scores are crazy. 4-1, 3-1, 1-0, 5-0 in the last 4 games. Like giving up 0, 1, 0, and 0 earned runs. Think the Pirates are scoring today against Tyrese Haliburton in the bullpen? No. If this game does get in, team total of the Pirates under 2.5. Yes, and that's what everybody wants, JR. If the game gets called, it's Scooble against Skeens tomorrow, which would be crazy. Okay, JPC the 4th is in Detroit. We got a monsoon coming, So what's your take? It's raining hard here and going towards Detroit, so probably get canceled. So if we could avoid that, that would be great. But that if we do get the game in, if somehow we can dance between the raindrops there and get the game in, that's how we could potentially do it. But Skubal, I mean, he's unbelievable. Skubal and Skeens, I want to see it only for one reason and one reason only, because I want to see what the books hang for a number. Like, just how low of a number are we going to hang? 6? Like, anybody have the guts to go ahead and hang a 6? Because I think that's possible. That's possible to hang a 6, and which would be, I don't think I've seen a 6 this year so far. I think I've obviously we've seen 6.5s, but we haven't seen 6s. So I just want to see it for that reason only. Like, let's hang a 6. 5? We're gonna hang a 5-ish. My gosh, Skubal versus Skeens, we're hanging a 5. That I don't know if I've ever seen. I think I've seen a 5.5. I think I've seen a 5.5 before, but I've never seen that. I've never seen something that low. That would be amazing. Give me 6, under 6, 6.5. I think you're going to get that. I think you can go ahead. If it is Skubal versus Skeens tomorrow, I think you can feel pretty good about that. That you're going to wind up getting a 6. All right, time for the BvB prop bet of the day. Okay, so yesterday we hit with Brandon Lowe going over 1.5 bases. We're going to go back to that same player, different prop for Brandon Lowe. Brandon Lowe has scored a run in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive games. He has scored. He had a double yesterday and a single. He had 2 hits. He scored. The team sometimes has scored 1 run, and he's the guy scoring the run. This is plus money. This is, again, just bet the streak, but raise Brandon Lowe to score a run. He has scored since the 11th of June. He has scored a run in every single game. You got to go back to the 10th of June against Boston. Excuse me, for the last time he didn't score, and he has scored a run in 10 of the last 15 games for the Rays. Go find that at plus money and go ahead and get into it here on that. So Brandon Lowe to score a run over a half a run is how the books sometimes will put it up. Over a half a run at plus 120 here for that. There are 2 other baseball games that I thought might be worth getting into, and the Mets and the Braves with Chris Sale on the mound is one of them. And I mean, the Braves at home are 20-15. They're not a great team, as we know. They're 7 games under 500, but that's because they can't play on the road. They're pretty good at home. The Mets are an unbelievable home team, and yet they're not very good on the road. They're 18-18 on the road. They're starting Blackburn today. Paul Blackburn has an ERA of 6.75. He's an opener mostly. He's gone 5, 4, and a third. His last start against Tampa, he got an out. He got 1 out, 4 earned in 1/3 innings worth of work in a 7-5 loss against Chris Sale, who, I mean, at home, Chris Sale is a guy that you can look to back at home, 2.83 ERA, but he's an 0-1 record, 245 opposing batting average, 9 earned runs in 28 2/3 innings worth of work. He's won 2 of his last 3. The team has won 2 of the last 3 starts by Chris Sale. At home, though, 2-1 loss to Arizona, 2-1 loss to the Padres. And the only way to bet this is under, is to go ahead and say Chris Sale come in under 9.5. Again, a pretty high inflated number. And then finally, we go into the Dodgers and the Padres, which, if you aren't watching this series is a ton of fun here. 6-3, 8-6. After not looking great for the Dodgers, playing decent, or I guess taking 2 out of 3 against the Giants, looking okay against the Giants. They're going for another sweep here. Padres all of a sudden are reeling. They've lost 4 of 5. Stephen Kolek going for them. Emmett Sheehan coming in, making his first start of the season, coming off, I believe, the IL for the Dodgers. Kolek has been okay. Last time out, 4 1/3, gave up 4 earned runs and 7 hits. Went 5 2/3 on the road against Milwaukee. No earned runs there, and then no earned runs up against the Giants on the road as well. So the 2 starts previous to the Arizona start were pretty good, but then he gave up 6 earned runs to the Miami Marlins and 3 earned runs in 6 innings to the Toronto Blue Jays. So I don't know which version of Kolek you're getting here today for the Padres. And from a Dodger perspective, they need some extra arms. Like, they need guys to come in. And so this hasn't been, this is the first start of the year for Emmett Sheehan for coming off the 60-day IL today for the Dodgers. So that's been a fade for a lot of people, that you would go ahead and bet against a pitcher making his first start of the year for the Padres and the Dodgers. Total's 9.5. I would probably lead towards the over on that point. Padres need a W just to salvage this 3-game set, as the things have not gone well against the leading LA Dodgers. I would lean towards the over. If I had to bet it, I'd probably take the Dodgers to sweep, but maybe. Ohtani watch is actually not about Ohtani. All right, so Ohtani's interpreter, Ipe, well, he reported for prison, and he will stay there for quite a long time. There's been a lot of talk about what is going on for Ipe and how Shohei did not get into any trouble at all about this, and that he could have gotten into trouble for what he did and for what he was involved with the gambling situation. Ipe is 40 years old. He is in custody at the Federal Correction Institute in Allenwood Low, a low security facility where he has been sentenced to 57 months in jail. And he's been ordered to pay back, I believe it's $4 million in restitution that he'll pay back for this. Matthew Bauer was the bookmaker that pled guilty to running an illegal booking operation and money laundering and filing a false tax return. He is currently awaiting sentencing at the moment, but this kind of puts it to bed. This is over now, that there is no conversation. There's nothing about Ohtani, that he will not face any scrutiny for this. None for this. So, I don't know what Shohei's deal is. I can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait to see if there is, in 10 years, 5 years, whatever it might be, where there's some type of payback, some type of thing that kicks in for Ipe from Shohei to keep him quiet. But he's reporting to jail. So that pretty much puts it to bed that there's not going to be any real blowback at Shohei Ohtani for what could have been a massive international scandal that actually didn't turn out to be one. We didn't play this yesterday. We do play it today. This will switch over to our friends at Circa Sports coming up in July. But for now, it's the Brigade Proxy Service Pro Football Story of the Day. If you are a Ravens fan, you got very good news today, because you got a new cornerback. And this is okay. Jair Alexander has signed a 1-year deal to go play with the Ravens. And I mean, if you are a Ravens fan, one, he gets reunited with Lamar Jackson. He gets reunited with his college friend from Louisville. So that's one obviously big story. The second is this secondary for the Ravens is going to be something else. Like, if they stay healthy, oh my, Marlon Humphrey, first-round pick. Nate Wiggins, first-round pick. Kyle Hamilton, first-round pick. Malachi Starks, who was a rookie, first-round pick. Okay. I mean, the Ravens ranked 31st in pass defense last year. And if you're a Packer fan, you're like, oh, man, you lose Jair. You probably figured you were going to lose him. But again, I was heavy in on the Ravens last year. I am equally heavy on this now. I mean, these are the types of moves you make when you're trying to go for it. You go sign a guy like Jair Alexander to come in, 1-year deal. It's worth $6 million. $2 million in incentives for him to come in to play on a secondary that I don't know who's going to come up with a nickname, but these guys are getting this is going to be a nickname secondary. Like, how do you not have this many first-round picks playing in the secondary for a Ravens defense that has a really good defensive front that gets after the quarterback and had a horrible pass defense last year? But now they are making major investments, capital investments into players from the cornerback and safety positions to say, that's not happening anymore. We're not doing this anymore. We're not playing this where you guys can throw the ball deep on us, aka the Chiefs. We're not losing these games that we lost last year because our defense gave up too many points by going and signing Jair Alexander. I understand there are some people, I just saw it in the chat that someone said that the Packer fans were tired of Jair Alexander. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can say that they are frustrated with him, that he became a prima donna, that he became somebody that the Packers could play without. But this dude's 28, and I get it. He had been banged up for 2 straight years, wasn't on the field. That caused a lot of fans in Green Bay to be frustrated because they counted on him, and he didn't do much of it. So they cut him. His contract, he has a $17 million price tag. It was 0 to cut him, so they cut him. I mean, he was an all-pro in 2020, an all-pro in 2022, but since the start of the 21 season, he has played in just 34 of the possible 68 games for the Packers. So that's not great, okay? But, I mean, I think if you are a Ravens fan waking up to this news that you have a new cornerback to go with that secondary, with the adjustments and changes and the new players, the draft choices that Harbaugh and company and what they have made, I think that's massive news. Like that is absolute massive news from a Ravens perspective. And again, I was all in on the Ravens last year. I'll be back in on the Ravens. This is time for Lamar Jackson to get his ring. Like, this is the time. One player doesn't change anything. It's just the mentality. It's the methodology that's going on here for the Ravens to say, we're pushing all of our chips into the middle of the table. This is our time. The Chiefs look vulnerable, aging, right? Not where they once were, not, as they were before. So now there's a chance to do and take advantage. And so you got to load up that defense. You know what the running game is going to look like. You know what they got in the backfield. I mean, they're going to be a big, big problem. Josh or Lamar finally winning it all this year. Yorkie, I'm not sure you guys win the division. You realize that nobody wins your division back-to-back, right? Forget back-to-back championships. I'm not sure the Eagles win back-to-back division championships. So, I know you guys are all jumping up and down in Philadelphia. Okay, I hear you. A lot of things went right for you guys, okay? Guys, a lot of things went right for Philadelphia to win their championship. So, just saying. Don't know. I know you got Saquon. I get all that. I do. But he is on the cover of Madden. So just saying. Watch out for those curses. Those things tend to be a little bit nasty. This story, I wish Dave was here for, but we have to talk about it. I like to think of this show as being a show that has been honest and upfront about the sports prediction marketplaces and those conversations. And we've been following this for quite a while. We've had lawyers, we've had media members, we've had people heavily involved in the sports prediction market situation. And yesterday was the day. I don't want to say I've been waiting for the day, but kind of, because everyone got involved yesterday. Everyone joined the case against Kalshi. Hundreds of tribes, 34 states, the American Gaming Association, all got involved with the Kalshi federal court decision in New Jersey. They all want their say. They all want to have a moment to have a conversation about what is going on and what needs to happen next. The tribes being involved, that is the biggest piece of all of this, because in all seriousness, the tribes are the ones that could stop all of this. I mean, The tribes believe and have been given sovereignty and control over gaming in their states. 34 state attorney generals came out against Kalshi offering sport event contracts in their jurisdiction. 34. It runs from New York to Utah, Alabama to Vermont. I mean, so many of them getting involved with this and coming in. From the brief itself, this was highlighted by the closing line newsletter that Dustin Goucher puts out each and every morning about this. The brief that was filed by these 34 states essentially saying that because in 2018, the Supreme Court upheld Congress could not bar the states from authorizing sports betting, and that states like California and Texas, Kalshi now offering online sports betting through event contracts on the future marketplaces. Kalshi itself has called what it does sports betting. Even so, Kalshi makes a bold legal claim. It says that the states have no power to regulate its conduct, regardless of whether these so-called event contracts qualify as sports betting under state law. According to Kalshi, Congress, through obscure language with a special rule in the Commodities Exchange Act, subtly preempted the states from exercising authority over sports betting when that betting is offered through a so-called event contract. If that sounds far-fetched, that is because it is. Like, the states aren't playing around. They are coming in and they are not happy about this. But the tribes are the ones that have a ton of jurisdiction, a ton of power. The Indian Gaming Association, we're going back a lot, decades, guys, for this, for them to be involved. The Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, the that when they got involved, when they decided to click in, that this is where all of this stuff will stop, that the Kalshi situation will come to a head and there will be a serious legal situation going on because of it. And I believe that was my first freeze. Sorry about that. I just think that, yeah, it's on. That's a great way of putting it. It's on. Like, it's on. The fact that the tribes are going to step in and say, we have jurisdiction in these states, Florida, for instance, right? That the Seminole tribe controls all of the gaming and sports betting in the state of Florida, and that Kalshi is operating in the state of Florida. They're not just going after them to stop. They're going after them for damages. They want to be paid for what Kalshi has done. The ad, I didn't see the ad. I'm not sure if you guys saw the Kalshi ad that aired during the NBA Finals game number 5. But I saw it be reported that Disney had given the approval for the ad to run. It's the first ad that had ever been 100% AI created. It had never been, there wasn't a single human being. It was all AI that was done that was going to air for Kalshi. The sports prediction marketplace, the sweepstakes marketplaces, the peer-to-peer, all of these conversations, it's such an interesting look because although these companies are claiming that they have legal standing, no one is trying to say they're operating illegally. They're all saying they're operating legally. And some of them are doing things differently. Some of them are doing more on the peer-to-peer exchange. We have a new sponsor coming on. Cut is a peer-to-peer exchange. They're going to be coming on with us in July, sponsoring the show in July. And they are operating in 45 states. And they're operating from a big picture on this, as they're offering a peer-to-peer opportunity to bet on a variety of different things. They're not a sports prediction marketplace. They are a peer-to-peer social sports betting platform. And so everyone's operating in these different worlds, in these different silos. And so Cut thinks that they're they're not part of this conversation. They don't want to be part of the conversation with Kalshi and the sports prediction marketplaces. They don't want to be part of the sweepstakes and the fliff and the buying of coins, the no-vigs. They don't want to be part of any of that. They're in their own silo, their own part of this whole thing. So it's fascinating. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I love the argument. I love the conversations. I love the situations. And yeah, Indians have significant influence in Florida, California. Not just significant. They have all the influence, Leg Show. They have all of it. They have it all. I mean, it's massive. So I can't wait to watch the next step for Kalshi, because the CFTC, like the commodities, the people at the federal government level that are supposed to be doing this, they don't care. They're on record. Brian Quintez, the new guy coming over from Kalshi to run the CFTC. I'm serious. That's true. To run the CFTC, was asked 2 weeks ago under oath on Capitol Hill if he's going to do anything about the sports prediction marketplaces. And he said no. And he said, anything to do with Kalshi, I will recuse myself for a year. But overall, when it comes to the CFTC's appetite for getting involved with the sports prediction market, he said zero. They have no interest in doing this. So I think we're going to see a lot more headlines like this, where everyone is now going to be involved, because we are literally determining what is and what is not sports gambling, and what is and what is not going to be acceptable and allowed to operate in America, because it's not millions, it's billions on the table. And there's a lot of people that are not happy about it. And it's not just the governments. It's a lot of people who are like, wait a minute. It's the legal operators. We've put the clips on the show a bunch of times about the legal operators who did everything right, paid for all of what the states asked of, all the KYC stuff, all the licensing, all of the fingerprinting for all their people, all the background checks, everything they went through to be an authorized, licensed, regulated sports book in the state that they want to do business in. They jump through hoop after hoop, and then one company comes in and says, well, I read is as this, and I don't agree with your interpretation, so I'm going to operate in your state, and you can't stop me. The only people that can stop me are the federal government and the CFTC. They're not going to stop me. They don't care. So no one's going to stop me. There is no police to stop me, and we're not going to listen to you. Attorney General of Maryland, Attorney General of New Jersey, Attorney General of Nevada. We don't care. We're going to do whatever we want, because we operate, we're above the law. We have our legal interpretation. So we're going to go at it, and you're going to have to stop us, because no one else is going to stop us. So what court's going to stop us? Because we're not listening to a state court. State court is beneath us. We want federal. So that's why the Indian Regulatory Gaming Act, that's why that was such a huge deal, because that's been on record as law for a long time. And it's easy for a judge to just interpret that, look at that and say, well, they've got standing. You don't. You're in violation of the law. Stop operating. Because the cease and desist letter, like, who ultimately is in charge of enforcing that? That's been a big question. Like, a state issues the cease and desist. Well, like, okay, are the federal, I mean, if the CFTC says we're not going to get involved, we're not going to stop them from doing anything, who ultimately is going to enforce that, and where? Because if Kalshi's headquarters are, it's the internet. So, like, how do you stop them from coming into your state and operating in your state if they choose to keep operating? Like, this is what goes on in Texas all the time. Like, DraftKings and FanDuel are not supposed to operate in Texas. They don't care. They operate in Texas from a DFS standpoint. I'm talking about now. I used to always be blown away. I was like, isn't DFS illegal here? Yeah. But these states are operating. They're doing, yeah. Well, how are they going to get, I mean, Texas can't stop it. So, like, they interpreted the law differently, and they are allowed to operate. I couldn't figure that out, how that went on. I don't know. That was when I lived there. So I haven't lived in Texas for a decade. But when I lived there, DraftKings and FanDuel both were available. You could play DFS, and it was supposed to be illegal. You weren't supposed to be allowed to use it, but you did. So it's amazing. I mean, this is an absolutely amazing situation going on right now involving Kalshi, and they've got deep pockets, but the number of people that are coming at them, the number of states that are coming at them, you've got 34 states now who are involved in this. You have 300 tribes who were involved in this. I don't know. Even with Donald Trump Jr. on the board, I really wonder how much longer Kalshi is going to be able to operate like this without answering to anyone. I mean, they're not answering to anyone because the CFTC has literally said in public, we have no interest in stopping sports prediction marketplaces and what's going on. If you're a state and you're angry, sorry. Time for favorite thing about today. All right, we end every show with our favorite thing about today. And look at that. We're going to do an hour 40. I didn't know how long the show would be today. So I was kind of going, are we going to get the whole show in? We're going to do an hour show, hour 20. We're going to do the full complement today. So at least I know I can do it. If I got to do the full show, I'll do the full show. But starting next week, the show is going to drop down to be, as of right now, the plan is to have the show be an hour, but maybe it will be hour 10, hour 20. I don't know, but we're going to cut it down. Favorite thing about today. I couldn't believe when I saw this. This is not fake. This is real. Yahoo Sports did a gigantic expose on a brand new fighting league. The fighting league is for Ice Wars. It's a spinoff of the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. These are two fights that happened recently at the Ice Wars. It was Saturday night. The inaugural event happened. 20 fighters, former hockey players, boxers, and MMA fighters competed in a small arena at the Soaring Eagle Resort and Casino in central Michigan, where they donned full hockey gear. No puck, no stick, no goal. The ring was an 800 square foot, quote, hockey rink called the Ice Box, though the ice was synthetic ice, which hosted 10 fights between American and Canadian opponents in which they called the Battle of the Border. Each bout for these fighters, each bout was 3 minutes in length, much like a boxing fight, so same length of time for a boxing fight. They fought between 3 and 5 90-second rounds. Like NHL enforcers, the fighters each circled each other on the ice, but like they skated around each other and then threw haymakers. But unlike NHL enforcers, they kept their 4-ounce MMA gloves on. They wore 4-ounce MMA gloves. Rather than round by round scoring, fights are judged as a whole. As one judge told Yahoo Sports, you just know who won. You just know who won. There's no criteria. You just go, yeah, that guy won. You can tell, he said. You can tell who won. This is unbelievable. This is not fake. This is real, okay? This is 100% real that we now have Ice Wars. We have hockey fights going up in Michigan. I think you will be able to bet on this. 100%. You will be able to bet on this. I'm not sure they approved it yet to do this, but this is unbelievable. Like, this is unbelievable that this is now real, that we have hockey fights that get to be scored as real fights. I give the Bare Knuckle Championship folks a ton of credit. Think outside the box. Go crazy. Am I going to go watch it? I don't think so. But I don't know. People love hockey fights. Like if you can get in on it, it doesn't say here whether or not there's knockouts or not, but I know Chuck Mindenhall, the guy who wrote the article. I'm going to see if we can get Chuck on the show tomorrow to talk about it, because I think this is one of the most insane things that has come across from a sporting perspective in a long time. Like this is absolutely nuts. The Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, but Ice Wars, where these guys get cut up. Luckily, there's no shield, which would be completely cheating, but they are wearing helmets. So that's the one part about this. I might be like, why don't we do it without helmets? The guys don't need to have helmets on, and you have a chance to break your hand if you're punching a guy with a helmet on their head. That would hurt. It is Goons Gone Wild. That's a good point, Marcelo, on this. I don't know. I just saw that today. I was like, okay, that's my favorite thing about today. My favorite thing about today is that we have a thing called Ice Wars, where now we have combat sports where guys get to load up and pound the crap out of each other I don't know what the criteria is to get into it, but there is no takedown. There's no grappling. It is straight fist on fist, and you got to hold. You are on synthetic ice, so technically you're on skates, but look at that. Every day, something new that pops up here. Ice Wars. Go check it out. I'm sure there's some video that's around that you guys can go ahead and have it. Guys, hopefully Dave's back tomorrow. I don't know if he will be back tomorrow, but if he's not, I think on Friday he'll be here to kind of pass along some information to what's going on with all of us. But thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. We will be back 2:30 Eastern, same time. The show will be a bit more consistent because I can fire it. It'll be pretty much 2:30 every day. So it won't be ish start time. It'll be a 2:30 start time. 2:30 Eastern will be the start time for the foreseeable future here when it's just me. So basically July 7th on guarantee. But if it's just me tomorrow, I'll talk to you at 2:30 Eastern time tomorrow for another episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.